It's story time, guys. So the story that I want to share with you guys today happened about 9 or 10 years ago. It was shortly after we opened the shop, so maybe 4 or 5 years in. I went to go pick up the kids from school, and I got back to the shop, and I saw a young woman. She was probably maybe 2 or 3 years younger than I was at the time, and she waved at me from all the way down, like maybe 5 or 6 doors down. And she says, "Help me, I need help. Can you come help me?" And so I saw her car was a little bit, not in the parking spot, but more into the drain. So I figured maybe she broke down and she needed somebody to like push it back into the parking spot. Well, I'm a girl, so I'm not about to push any cars. So I opened the door to the shop and I'm like, "Joe!" Yell for Joe. He was all the way in the back. He was pouring water just now, so I stopped. And I'm like, "This girl needs help." So he came. He was angry already. He didn't really want to help because he was busy with his machine. And so we walked over to the girl and I said, "What's up?" And she said, "I need, help with pushing the car back into place." And I said, "Well," Joe says, "Well, go see if you can start it." And she goes, "No, I don't have the keys." So I'm like, "Well, where are your keys?" And she said, "My boyfriend took off with it." So right away, there was this little bit of fear that came up in me because I'm like, what's going on here? Domestic dispute. I don't get involved in domestic disputes at all because it never ends well. The girl always goes back with the guy. Sometimes the guy ends up murdering the girl and murdering people who are trying to help. So right away, my brain was there, okay? And so then I looked down the way to my door and I saw this guy coming on a bicycle that was like way too small for him. And he was like pedaling this bicycle coming down towards us. And he looked like a cholo, okay? He looked like a gangbanger. And so I asked the girl, I said, "Is that your boyfriend?" And he was, a little bit off in the distance. And then she said, "No, I don't think that's him." "How you don't know what your boyfriend looks like?" Give me a break. I know what Joe looks like. Even from a distance, I know his walk. I know his body shape. I mean, I would have to be so far away from him that I would not know what he looks like, right? And so then I tapped Joe and I said, "Joe, we don't have no business here. Let's go back." And so then the guy comes and he jumps off his bike and he's like, "Sup, Holmes, sup, what you want in this?" I'm like, "Joe, this is not our problem." I said, "Bye." And we just hightailed it out of there. I never walked so fast in my life. We got back to the shop and I locked that door so fast. That's why we always leave a key in the door on that side because I don't want to have to go search for my keys in my pocket, find the right key. Yeah, we always leave a key there so we can lock that door. We locked that door so fast. The minute we locked that door, that girl was on the glass like this saying, "Help me, help me." And the guy was like pulling her in her hair. So I told Joe to run and lock the back door because we have to pull up back doors. And I ran to the phone and I called 911. Well, the city that we have the shop is unincorporated, so PD doesn't come out. It's the sheriffs that come out, and they're all the way somewhere in San Bernardino, which is further away from where we are, okay? So then I called 911, and the operator came on the phone and said, "911, could you please hold?" Oh my God, I was so scared. I was like, "Joe, 911 put me on hold." And so Joe went into the back office and he pulled out the machete because we have several machetes on site, okay? We're Belizeans. We are about a machete, although in Belize it's called machete. So anyways, the guy came to the door and the girl was at the door and she's like, "Please let me in, help, help, help." Finally, after about a minute to a minute and a half, the operator came back on. That minute to minute and a half felt like 10 hours, okay? The operator came back on and then she was like, ma'am, what's the issue?" So I'm telling her this is domestic dispute. This guy looks like he's high on something. Please send out, your officers. Please don't send one single officer by himself. Send him with a partner. Send him with a canine. Send somebody with him because this guy looks like he's out of it. And he's beating on the girl. And of course, I'm not opening the door because I'm going to be walking into my death possibly. So the guy goes to my car that was parked there at the time. He starts writing in the windshield because our cars are always dirty. Jada's the only one that keeps a clean car. Jada and Jory.
Even that it's dirty right now.
Jada wanted to walk through here just now. And so he writes, I think he writes something like "gotcha" or something like that. I don't know what he wrote, but it was so scary. It was like something out of a crazy movie, okay?
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you, got you, something like that, right? And so then, wait, Jada's gonna get some ice. Let me hold on. You want to come into story time?
Sure.
Jada got her ice and now she's gonna join the story time. So you're gonna get seen. You want me to move down? Okay, I move down. Every now and again, Jada will peek in. Yeah, so you were really young. Do you remember this story?
But that one chick was like trying to run away from her boyfriend. And he was
Yeah,
like,
you
all
remember the story more or less?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was high on something, guys. So anyways, we look out the door and up pulls the cop car. One cop comes out of the car. Can you believe this? So then, by then, the guy was smart. He had on layers of clothing. He had layers of shirt. So let's say he started off with a white shirt, right? He pulled that off, and pretty soon he was with a blue shirt. Then he pulled that off, and he was with some. I think he must have pulled off like 4 different color shirts, like those quick change people.
It's crafty.
Yeah, he was smart. And so then, the cop, is trying to catch him and realize that they can't catch him. So here comes another police car, and that one brought a canine. That one was smart. I was telling him, bring a canine, bring something, right? And so they got out the car and they managed to catch him. And he was like fighting. He was resisting arrest. It was back in the day when they didn't shoot you, when you were brown and resisted arrest. And so then they put his hands behind his back, and they put him in the back of the squad car. And they're doing all their questioning. They're questioning the girl. They're coming to my door to question me. And we're peeking through the front door there. The bushes were hiding it. We went through the other window. And so finally, we hear the guy start screaming in the back of the cop car. And he's like, hey, and he's cussing or whatever. And he's banging his head against the window. And so then, bang, the one bang went like that. And he shattered the window. And he lunged from the car down to the ground below in the glass. So all they did was they put their foot on him and kind of crushed his head into the glass. I think it was warranted. At that time I was so scared of that guy.
They broke the poor guy's car. I would have done the same thing.
So then at that point, like several of them hog-tied him. So that's what I'm naming the Storytime. They hog-tied him. They hog-tied him with his hands, and you know what that is, right? They kind of had him on his belly. They put his arms back there, still handcuffed, and then they took his legs. Connected his feet to his arms or hands or whatever, and then they went ahead and put him back in a different squad car at that time, and there was blood everywhere because he's stupid. I mean, he cracked his head trying to crack that window. I didn't know those windows were so easily crackable.
I didn't know our head was that strong.
I know. Mine would have probably broke.
Hey, but with crazy don't die fast.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're high on something.
Or every single movie where you're fighting off someone who's insane. The crazy person don't die that quick.
So you can't top it because it shakes. So anyways, they took this guy off to jail. 2 weeks later, I get a letter from the DA, and it's stating that I have to show up as a witness. I'm like, hell to the no. That guy worked at that location where the girl was picking him up from. I live there. That's my shop. I'm the owner. I don't just work there where I can quit. That's my place. And I'm like, he's gonna come out in 6 months and come back for me. He already said, gotcha. So I contacted, what do they call? Victim's advocate. And I'm saying I was a victim because I had to witness all of that mess. Oh, let me go back. I digress. After that cop came with the canine and all that stuff happened, oh my God, mucho police like this. 10 cars deep? And then the helicopter above from PD and from the news. It was a big deal, okay? I was like, me and Joe are laying on our belly in the back office. No, we weren't really laying on our belly. We were peeking through the window like that. Like a good Belizean.
Of course.
Peek just like that. And so then they took him off. Like I said, victim's advocate. They spoke up for me. I didn't have to go talk against this fool. They still convicted him, and he got about 6 to 8 months, just like I said. So fast forward, like 8 months later, I'm driving down the street, coming home, one of these main streets that I go on all the time. And I think you were in the car with me, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And there's this crazy guy right in the middle of the street just acting insane. And I'm like, who is this crazy fool in the street, Jada? Lo and behold, we pull up next to the dude, and it was him, the crazy hog-tied guy. So I'm like, oh my God, he's out of jail. I'm gonna die, you all, I'm gonna die.
Stay Satan.
So anyways, on the final note, When you're in an incorporated city, when you are in an unincorporated city, you don't have to have a business license. You get something that's called a minor occupancy review, which is opposed to a major occupancy review, which is what big companies have to go through. We're a small company, so the fire department has to come out and check out your place, make sure you have all the, what's the thing called? I call them fire hydrant, but that's the wrong thing. Fire extinguishers. I always call it fire hydrant. You have to have a fire extinguisher at every machine and at every compressor.
Fire hydrant, something you get water from. I was like, no, this is not.
And you have to draw blueprints. I drew my own blueprints. I thank you. And so, because it was unincorporated, the sheriffs would come out, like I said earlier, but now the neighboring city took over our little town where we have our business because they wanted the money from the building that we have, because it's 22 shops on every building and there's 4 buildings there, so they wanted all that money for business licenses. And so they took us over about 6-7 years ago, and so now we have business licenses. We don't just have minor occupancy review. So now when we call for 911, PD comes out, PD from the next town that took us over. So I guess that's a little bit better. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I'm gonna try to remember some of these stories.
Now don't tell everybody I've been.
I'll come back and tell you guys these stories, okay? Bye.
When the red button is on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay guys, see, I'm doing it. Ready. He doesn't want to go back on the boat. Splash.
What's the splash?
Yeah.